CJ Stroud. Oh, I forgot to put the R in there. My bad spelling. Oh, goodness gracious. I mean, I'm sorry.
We'll call him CJ Cloud.
Yes. Um, I mean, 27 points, 30 attempts on 20 completions, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, he had a little bit, had 3 attempts, 14 yards rushing, but, his passer rating was 118. I mean, I know earlier this year, I know you said you're off CJ Stroud and whatnot. You didn't want to have anything to do with him. Has your opinion changed now after kind of seeing him, after a couple weeks now?
At least for his rookie year, yeah. Because I remember RG3 popped, his rookie year, and didn't have a much of a career after that. Justin Fields, you could argue, last year, they didn't win any games, but he had a decent, stats wise, had a decent year. So I mean, I'll let this play out. Right now, in terms of fantasy, though, he's a steal. I'll admit when I'm wrong. I mean, I said Russ was, before, after they made that trade from Seattle to Denver, I said Russ was going to win the 2022 MVP. I ate a whole plate of shit for that. And I'll eat some for CJ Stroud too. Yeah, I was. And more of it was the Ohio. I mean, I was very impressed with him last season, and then in the college football playoff. You know, look damn good against Georgia with all their studs. So it's an Ohio State thing. Their quarterbacks don't seem to pan out, and I think that was my concern with him. But yeah, so far, he's. I couldn't include him, and when we do our waivers, I'll kind of explain that. But I couldn't include him in my 5 because he's rostered a little too much now. But still, at 20 and Yahoo at 21% rostered. I mean, this guy is an absolute steal. It would be manager negligence, and you might have to have your spot in your league revoked if if your backup is garbage. If your backup is Ryan Tannehill, and you're not trying to go get C.J. Stroud, you're a moron. Absolutely, this guy's tearing it up through the air. He's building a repertoire with some new weapons. I mean, some old ones too. Robert Woods. He speaking of Renaissance. I mean, Robert Woods is back from the dead. I love what I'm seeing from. We'll talk about in a second. Tank Dell. Obviously, Nico Collins. Nico Collins is looking like a Pro Bowl level receiver so far. I mean, I'm very very
Yeah.
impressed with Nico Collins. Damian Pierce. He spotty so far, but I mean, maybe he'll turn it up here in his. I know that their offensive line, isn't great for the running game, but they've surprised me overall as a team. I mean, they've been competitive, and and most of the season they beat Jacksonville. So I mean, yeah, I've been impressed. I've been impressed. But before I start calling him, the next coming or Mahomes or Josh Allen, one of these guys, I'm going to need a couple seasons. Because that would have been easy to say last year after Justin Fields. Like, oh, Justin Fields is the next Lamar. He's going to have, 1,100 yards rushing every year and 3,500 yards passing and so touched. And now, Justin Fields is like 2 seconds from being, benched. So,
Well, I think
but fantasy wise, Jay, fantasy wise for this year, though, CJ Stroud, absolute stud so far.
yes, I have to agree. I mean, at first I was a little skeptical. I was like, because you said you're off him as well. I was kind of like, and I was kind of keeping an eye on him a little bit too as well. And he's been, the air yards are just, he's so. I mean, the first game not so much because he was getting just sacked
Arms
after
away.
sack. And it comes down to, I mean, this is also it's going to be a learning experience for him too as well. And the other thing too is that he wanted Tank Dell for his wide receivers. He wanted one of the, and they went out and got Tank Dell for a reason, because CJ Stroud, he wanted him, and he was, Tank Dell was a Houston prospect, and for being a little short guy at 5'8", I mean, he looked, he looked good. I mean, he looked good down there, and I mean, he might even be better than a lot of these, maybe not Addison or um, JSN, but I mean, he kind of surpasses him as a rookie right now with the capable of time playing. So I mean, that's the other thing about that. But with CJ Stroud having a connection with Tank Dell and working with him, I think this is going to be a duo we look at for the future. I mean, I think this is going to be a 1-2 kind of combo that a lot of people are going to be looking at going forward. And speaking of,